I'll now launch it officially because it is exactly, 3 p.m. for me, 2 p.m. CET. So welcome everyone to today's IAPC&M CPD Building Masterclass. My name is Julie Kennedy and I will be your host. So great topic and great speaker with us on the hot seat today. And that is Joe Cantle, our senior accredited coach with IAPC&M, of course, and EFT master trainer and angelic Reiki master. I had to look that one up, Joe. Less known fact about her is that she also loves dancing. So she started with ballroom dancing at 7, then winning disco competitions, and she's now been teaching Zumba for 13 years now. I did not know that about you, and I love it. So some housekeeping rules before we get into our topic. Our call today will be a maximum of 1 hour. So that includes 15 minutes Q&A, which we will probably take at the end. Feel free to use the comment box, the chat, in order to put your questions down so you don't forget them, and we can take them at the end, unless you have like a burning issue, in which case put your hand up. The session is recorded, so please mute yourself unless you're being asked, obviously, for something. But keep your video on so the speaker can see they're not talking to themselves. And you can use the chat box for questions, suggestions, etc. Of course, don't forget, I'm the school teacher here, to have your pen and pad ready so that you can get your CPD points and really make sure that you capture this knowledge to implement afterwards. So today's topic is indeed the power of EFT and how you can help yourself and your clients tap your way to success and abundance. I think we can all do with some of that. Over to you, Joe.
Thank you so much, Julie, and welcome everybody. Thank you so much for being here. So as Julie said, my name is Joe, and I'm going to take you through some slides now. And I've just been asking in the chat about people's sort of experience of EFT. And it seems to me we've either got some people who've had some experience or people who are actually brand new or know a little bit about it, okay, which is absolutely fantastic. So I'll switch over to my slides now, but one of the things I am going to say is obviously Julie said, you know, if you want to take your cameras off, we're going to do a bit of tapping later, so you'll definitely need your cameras on for that, so that you know, I can sort of like see what you're all doing with your, you know, whilst you're tapping. Okay, I was going to say see what you're doing with your hands, but then I decided to rephrase it because it sounded slightly better. Okay. All right, so the power of EFT, help yourself and your clients tap their way to success and abundance. I'm going to say thank you so much for the incredible welcome. I'm actually now a master coach, not a senior coach. I actually passed in August of this year, which I'm very proud of. Okay, so I'm an accredited master coach and accredited EFT master trainer. I'm also a angelic Reiki master because I like being a master of everything. I like mastering things. I like to go deep into a subject, and that for me is what I did with EFT a few years back. So what I do, I'm actually one part of a partnership called Becoming 360 Academy. My co-creator and business partner, Lisa McMurtry, is also part of the IAPC&M. And, you know, our role really is to help guide people. We work with soulful entrepreneurs, people who work in a soul-aligned way, who want to work intuitively. I'm very passionate about money mindset. I tend to refer to myself as a money mindset mentor. And for me, it's about helping people clear money and success blocks, embrace the new wealthy identity, and feel safe to receive the abundance that they deserve. And what we do within our company is also train people to be top life coaches and EFT practitioners so they can also build fulfilling businesses. So that's a little bit about me. How did I come across EFT? Well, like a lot of people probably on the internet, you know, people were talking about this tapping thing. I was like, this seems a bit like that couldn't possibly make a difference to my limiting beliefs, my blocks, or anything like that. And then I had, again, I always think, you know, the universe shows you the way. And I went on to something called the Tapping Solution. Some of you might know it's run by the Ortners, Nick Ortner and Alec Ortner and Jessica Ortner, so brothers and sister. And they were running something called the Tapping Solution or the Tapping Summit. Now that actually is just about to come up again. It's free. So if you're interested in getting incredible masterclasses on tapping, it starts on the 4th of November. I know this because I've just registered for it. It is free, and you have got the option to upgrade to get a permanent access to all the recordings. Okay, so that will be amazing and will give you a real insight. If you're really interested in EFT, then that will be an incredible thing for you to look at. So that was my sort of real first exposure to it. And on there, I saw a woman who actually had written a book called Tapping into Wealth. Her name was Margaret Lynch. She's now goes under the name Margaret Lynch Rainier. And she was I read the book, it changed my life. I decided to go and become a certified coach with her in Tapping into Wealth. I was one of the last cohorts she ran in that particular modality. And it absolutely transformed the way I coached people. I suddenly understood about nervous system. I suddenly understood about the blocks and beliefs and the way that they integrated with our subconscious, previous events, previous memories, etc. It just changed my life. That's when I went on to train as an EFT practitioner, and I have gone up through all the levels and become an EFT master trainer. And I now have the pleasure of teaching people how to be EFT practitioners, as well as doing all the lovely stuff I do with my clients as well. It is incredibly powerful. So it's also known as tapping. You'll see it quite often be called tapping. And these are the facts of it. It often works when nothing else will. You don't use any drugs or equipment. It is safe and painless. You don't have to tap that hard. It is usually rapid, long-lasting, and gentle. It can be easily learned by anyone, even children. You can actually tap on even younger children. You can tap on animals, and you can also do something known as surrogate tapping, where you are tapping on somebody else's behalf. It can be easily self-applied. It can be used at any time, anywhere, and you don't have to believe in it for it to work, which is really key, because I've definitely tapped with people when I've noticed people are anxious in the moment, and I've said, you know, if they're open to doing something with me, it will take just a minute. And I have tapped with them and they've been blown away with the impact. Okay. It really doesn't have to take that long to actually help someone. And that for me is really the power of it, is when you see somebody who is maybe feeling a bit anxious, somebody who just needs a little bit of calming down, maybe they've had a little bit of a shock, maybe they're just in a state of anxiety. As a coach, and you know, as someone who loves to help people, for me to be able to go up to somebody and say, look, can I just do something with you? I'm not tapping on them, I'm getting them to tap, and I'm showing them how to tap, and immediately it helps to calm them down. It is so empowering for them, and I absolutely love it. It is just an amazing thing. I think you can tell my passion about it. So it isn't woo-woo. So for those of you who think, oh yeah, this sounds just a little bit woo-woo, okay, it's not. It is scientifically proven. There are more and more published papers that are coming out where they are doing like clinical trials around things like PTSD, stress on, you know, women as they give birth, for example, to use something like EFT to manage the stress, the anxiety, and the pain, for example. What it does is involves tapping on specific acupressure points on the body. And while we tap in, what we focus on is the negative emotions or the physical pain or the limiting beliefs. Now, I just want to address something, because sometimes one of the questions that comes up with people is, am I tapping the negative in? Because obviously, particularly people who are involved in law of attraction, they kind of go, well, I just want to think the happy stuff. Like, I don't want to tap in the bad stuff. But the point is, if you're feeling something, it's already there in your energy field. So let's say that you're feeling sad. If I start tapping and going, oh, I'm happy, the sadness is still there, but what I'm trying to do is kind of like plaster it over and not really honoring that feeling. So what we're doing when we're actually saying this sadness, we're actually honoring that emotion. Okay, we're not tapping it in, and I'm going to give you a scientific reason why this all works. Okay, but we're not tapping it in. Right, we're actually releasing it and allowing it to process. So it helps to calm down the fight or flight response, helps to calm the nervous system and release the emotional blockages. What it also does is reduce the emotional intensity of traumatic events and memories, and rewires negative thought patterns and behaviors. And then using EFT regularly can support the immune system by helping to lower cortisol levels and helping to alleviate stress. So it's actually good for your immunity to tap every day. What can EFT be used on? Basically, what can EFT not be used on? Okay, it's everything. If there is an unwanted belief or emotion, you can use EFT on it. Now, Does that mean if you're an EFT practitioner, you would use it on everything? No. Okay, I'm just going to stress here, there is such a thing called scope of practice. So we're not just, again, as an accredited EFT master trainer, I would only ever be recommending people actually be tapping with people on this stuff if they were actually trained to. And by that, I mean actually have additional training around some of these. Okay, so I do want to just give that. Okay, just because you could tap on it doesn't mean to say that you would, because obviously there are other implications around it. But can you? Yes, you can. If there is, additional training, if you are somebody, for example, who is a trauma therapist, you could put tapping into your practice and use it with your clients. Okay, so fears and phobias, addictions and cravings, anxiety, trauma, sexual abuse, relationship problems, physical pain, allergies. I love using it on physical pain with people because they're always so surprised when it works. Okay, allergies and sensitivities. I have to say, I actually did my sister's partner actually had a headache, and again, he's one of those life skeptics, and I said, were you willing to try something with me? And he's like, yeah. And we did a few rounds of tapping, and he had a headache, and he just went, oh my God, it's gone. Oh, it's gone. What happened there? What just happened? It's so funny watching him. And he's like, what do you mean you can tap on any of your pain? Yep, you can tap on any of it. I'm not saying it will all go, but if there's an emotion attached to it, absolutely, you can tap on it. And there's usually an emotion attached to pain. It's called the mind-body connection. Self-image, confidence, limiting beliefs, which probably is one of the things I probably do the most of with my clients, because that's the sector I work with. Chronic illness. Yes, certainly I have worked with people who have got cancer because they are probably one of my business clients. All right, so you can use it within that to help with pain control, I would say, pain management. Other items: tinnitus, phantom pain, dyslexia, digestive issues, sleep issues. I've definitely used it on sleep issues. I should actually put menopause symptoms in here as well, because that's probably one of the biggest things I've used it on as well. Okay, skin problems as well. If there is an emotion attached to it, you can absolutely use it. Okay, let me give you a little bit of history about how it came about, so you know it wasn't just something that somebody pulled out of their pocket one day. There is some science behind it. So it started off in the 1960s with Dr. George Goodhart. So he discovered that muscle testing could provide insights into physical and physiological issues. So this work was foundational in exploring how specific points on the body correlated with physical and emotional imbalances. Then we had John Diamond with behavioral kinesiology. And what he did is he then integrated concepts from traditional Chinese medicine. He focuses on how emotions affect health and using muscle testing to identify and correct imbalances. He believed that tapping on certain meridian points could alleviate emotional issues. Then we had Roger Callahan, and there are people today who are TFT, thought field therapy practitioners, and this is what they do primarily. So what he found was that after experimenting with tapping on meridian points to help clients with phobias, his breakthrough came while teaching a client with a water phobia by tapping on under her eye point. It was associated with the stomach meridian, which unexpectedly alleviated the fear. Now, what he did was create various recipes. So there would be specific tapping points for specific issues, but it was quite complex to remember. So when Gary Craig, who then trained with Roger Callahan, he decided, because he was an engineer, he had a very logical mind, and he said there must be kind of like a kind of an optimum amount of points that if you tapped on all of them, then that actually would get most issues. So he simplified it and then gave it to the world. He never used it just for himself. He wanted the world to have it. And so that's where he also incorporated things like affirmations and acceptance statements. So often when you'll see it on YouTube, you might see, for example, in the setup statement, you'll see people tapping on the side of their hand and using in the setup phrase, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Okay, so that was part of Gary's sort of input as well. Now, we don't always use that because there's a lot of people who don't necessarily love and accept themselves. So we can play around with the setup phrase anyway. Okay, so that's a little bit of the history. Let me give you a little bit about how the brain works. Okay, so who's ready for their science lesson? Right, so so the amygdala, we have the amygdala. All right, so the amygdala, I'm going to start with the amygdala because actually that for me is where it all happens. All right, the amygdala is where we have our fight or flight. Okay, so this is our alarm center. This is when we are trying to run away from the saber-toothed tiger. The amygdala goes, run, 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 run. But now in this day and age, we don't have the saber-toothed tigers that we're trying to run away from. But what we do have is sometimes people trolling on our social medias, or maybe, you know, sending us a nasty email, or maybe a bit of road rage or something like that. That's what we get these days. Or maybe our boss is unhappy with the work we've done, or maybe we've got a disgruntled customer. Okay, so that's what happens these days in our amygdala. We're like, danger, 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 and it's as if we're still trying to run away from you know, predators. Then we have our hippocampus here. Okay, the hippocampus is the memory keeper. So the hippocampus stores memories, especially the emotionally charged ones. Now, so any trauma or fear-based memories, these memories can trigger a stress response when something reminds us of them. So let's say we have the boss who's mad with us, or a client who's mad with us, or the client who complains, or like they're just not making progress or something like that. That's triggering off in us. It is not safe to disappoint people. And that could come from a memory of maybe when we disappointed a parent or a teacher, for example. And then from that, of course, will have come a belief, which is it's not safe for me to disappoint people, or maybe it'll come like I'm not good enough, or something will be triggered up because it's been kept there in the hippocampus. And what will be triggered off in the nervous system, of course, is a fear response. We then have the prefrontal cortex, okay, just here. And that's for logical thinking. The thing is, if there's too much stress and anxiety that's being kicked up by these two, the frontal cortex cannot get a word in going, guys, hang on, you know, you're not 5 years old anymore. You know, the prefrontal cortex cannot get its word in, okay, until the stress response is lowered. All right, so this is how, by using EFT, what we're actually doing is we're tapping on the meridians. We're sending a mild electrical pulse to the amygdala, telling it is safe. So when the fight or flight response is being activated, okay, going danger, 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 we are tapping on it. This is why we say the negative, all right? This is why we say the negative, because we're saying, we're physically saying it's safe. We're physically saying it's safe. Even if we're going, I'm really angry right now. I'm really angry. I'm really angry. Okay. Even though we're saying that, we're actually sending a mild electrical pulse to say you're safe. And that then calms the amygdala down, and we go, oh, it's okay. Oh, we're all right. We activate the parasympathetic nervous system, and the frontal cortex goes, oh, thank goodness. Thank goodness you're finally going to listen to me. Listen, this is actually what's true. Okay. So let me give you an example. So I work with entrepreneurs. So apologies if a lot of my examples tend to be more entrepreneurial based. An entrepreneur wants to grow her business by showing up more online. She wants to be more visible. She wants to post more online. She wants to go live. She wants to share her personal story. She wants to share her truth. But she gets imposter syndrome. She feels waves of anxiety and self-doubt. No one's going to want to know what I have to say. Everyone else is genius. So everyone else is better than me. I don't deserve. Who would want to talk to me, listen to me anyway? All of that stuff. I'm sure we all know it. She gets filled with anxiety and self-doubt. Can't do it. Feels like a brick wall in her nervous system. This is her amygdala. So her amygdala is reacting as if there is a real threat. There's no threat. She's just talking about going live online, or maybe posting something on social media. Okay, but her amygdala thinks there's a saber-toothed tiger in the room, so it's acting like there's a real threat. This is triggering the fight or flight response. The reaction could stem from a past experience. Maybe as a teenager, she gave a class presentation. She thought she was doing her best, but it went poorly. Maybe some people laughed at her. Maybe the teacher said, oh, you know, actually gave her a C-. Maybe she got some criticism. Either way, that got stored up in the hippocampus, who then went, no, it's not safe to be seen. When you are seen, you will get embarrassed or ridiculed or humiliated. You will struggle with rejection. That's how that all works. So as she tries to step into that visibility, the hippocampus is retrieving the old memory, sends out an alarm, says, no, you shouldn't be doing this. When we tap and we send that electrical pulse down the nervous system, prefrontal cortex goes, nah, you're okay, you got this. you got this. You got this. Okay. So what the prefrontal cortex can do is, once the emotion has gone from the original event, is it can actually step in with some logic and reason. It can help her to reframe. The energy is gone from the past humiliation. She no longer has to carry that around. So she can walk forward confidently in her business. This is why it's amazing for you too, because I'm sure that there are people listening right now who sometimes struggle with their confidence. Okay. All right. Is EFT safe? Yes. Doesn't remove common sense. It does not make you an emotional robot. It does not replace correct medical supervision. You would never advise somebody to just tap on something which really does need medical supervision. Can it support, you know, when you're going through maybe any medical procedure? Yeah, absolutely. Because if there is an emotional response to it, it's going to help support that, because it's going to help support the nervous system. It doesn't require you to be re-traumatized. So you don't have to go back into really explicit traumatic memories. There are what we know, and this is what I train people in, there is what's known as the gentle techniques. And the gentle techniques will help support somebody to gently release if they've got something that's, you know, seriously traumatizing. With the right support, that you can go in with the gentle techniques and ensure that somebody is safe. And of course, you are safe as well in the meantime. And we teach in our courses, we teach people about how to handle it when people are maybe getting, you know, a little bit over anxious, maybe when the emotions have got a little bit high, and we teach people how to keep everyone safe. Okay, where's your tapping points? Let's go. Right, so we've got 9 main tapping points. Now, you will see other people use other tapping points as well, but these are the main ones, okay? You've got side of the hand, often known as the karate chop, okay? But I believe that is actually being shifted to called side of the hand, something to do with cultural misappropriation, but I'm not sure. So side of the hand, let's just call it side of the hand. So it's here, okay? Everybody can see me. All right, so let me, if I stop share, I'll stop share, and then just so that everybody can see me. Okay. So we've got side of the hand, okay? And what we always do is we do a setup statement on here, and we always do it 3 times, okay? Then we have inside of the eye. I'm going to take my glasses off so you can see me. Okay, so think about, right, you've got your eye socket, and the meridian points are actually on the eye socket. We'll just say that. So we've got inside of the eyebrow. It's usually where the end of your eyebrow is. So think about tapping very lightly. You can do it both sides, okay? But you're tapping on the inside of the eyebrow that's still on the eye socket. Outside of the eye, we're not on the temple. We're here, side of the eye, okay? Under the eye, again, directly under where your eyeball would be, and this is still on the eye socket. We've got under the nose, chin point, which is the dimple. Now we've got the collarbone, which is actually isn't the collarbone, okay? So if you've got your U shape of your collarbone, and then you go out about 2 inches and down, you'll find sort of like you've got your clavicle there, but it's underneath it. It's what's called the sore spot. Now, some people, when they're tapping, and I always do it, I tap all across. Now, I'm going to invite you all, just give that a little tap and see how it feels. Little tap. Just have a breathe there. Ooh. Oh. Now, that's one of my favorite spots. And the reason why, for most people, that feels really good. And a lot of times we do this, we might go like that when we're feeling a bit panicky. And the reason being is because this meridian point is attached to the kidneys. And on top of the kidneys is the adrenal glands. So, of course, we're calming down the adrenal glands. Okay. Now, the other tapping point is about 2 inches below your armpit, just here. The final tapping point is on top of your head. Now, you want to be using all your fingertips, and the reason being is because you've got additional meridians on your fingers. And again, that feels just great if you're just tapping all over the, oh, lovely. Yes, so we'll tap on the top of there. Okay, now there's also something which we do called the 9 gamut. Okay, now this is here. It's down between your little finger and your index ring finger, okay, if you've got a ring finger, down there. Now, it's also known in Chinese medicine as triple warmer. We call it the gamut point, okay, and there's a lot of nerves and energy in there, okay? So what we do is we either rub or we tap, okay? And we do some magic with the eyes as well, okay? And we call it the 9 gamut series. So I will do a little bit of that with you as well. So those are the tapping points. So why can EFT be a game changer for your clients, but actually also you as well? Stress, overwhelm, procrastination, self-doubt, limiting beliefs, they're all killers of opportunities. They'll stop you from moving forward. They'll stop you from showing up. They'll stop you from saying yes. They'll stop you from building relationships, achieving your goals, and experiencing well-being and optimizing your health. Okay? And EFT can help transform all of that and change yours and their lives forever by creating deeper and long-lasting, often permanent shifts. Let me give you some examples. You worry that your business isn't making enough money. You're not getting enough sales or attracting the right clients. You feel uncertain and worried about money, but you'd love to feel safe and financially free. Now, using EFT, you can release the energy around the belief about having to struggle to make money, which again is often a story we've all grown up with. You've got to work hard for money is quite often something that we all take as being, yeah, that's the truth. You got to work hard for money. Well, who says it's the truth? Just because that's what our parents told us and we witnessed. Doesn't have to be true. It could be easy. It could be easy to make money, couldn't it? We could change that belief. It is just a belief. Or maybe the belief about not being good enough. When did we decide that we weren't good enough? Okay, so we can change those beliefs at a really deep identity level when you start working with this stuff. This is exactly the stuff that I have been doing on myself and with my clients for the last 5-6 years. And what you can do is tune into the frequency of wealth and profitability, rewiring your relationship with money from scarcity to abundance. So I have, several programs which I run with Lisa, Solar Line Business strategy trainings. I do a lot of tapping in them. I run at the moment, I've got, I'm 9 modules into a 12 module program called Up Level Wealth Activation. We do a lot of tapping in there as well to help reduce anxiety around money and abundance. Overwhelm and procrastination. If you're running a business or a busy career, these can lead to feelings of overwhelm, which sometimes people don't always think, or anxiety. I struggled with overwhelm. I'd never have said I was an anxious person. I was just overwhelmed. I had a lot of work to do. So this results in procrastination. Procrastination is often protection. Okay, the reason why people don't want to post on social media, the reason why they don't want to say yes to opportunities, the reason why they have things like imposter syndrome is because they are protecting themselves from the potential failure, success, or rejection. The indecision, the lack of clarity, it is all about protecting ourselves from the stuff that we've decided when we were younger about whether we were good enough, whether we were talented enough, whether we deserve success, okay? So what you tend to do is doom scroll or just avoid things, okay? And go and be busy over here tidying the pen pot or something, all right? We always know when we're procrastinating. So EFT helps us to reduce the emotional tension associated with overwhelm. It helps to reduce stress, brings clarity, so you can take action with ease and focus on high priority tasks that move your business forward. Let's talk about health and wellness goals as well, because, if we want to be like change makers in our business, if we want to have a profitable business, we've got to be healthy as well. We've got to have the best health we can. Now, often what happens is we can get stuck. We want to change our appearance or maybe our health in some way, but we get stuck in the habits of maybe not eating well, maybe comfort eating, when it's cold or whatever, or not getting enough sleep or failing to follow through on fitness goals. Now, using EFT, you can get to the root cause of the avoidance of changing the habits, why we're struggling with that, and help to release the beliefs or energy that is holding them back, which may be caused by a memory or maybe a painful event, okay? So quite often we will be protecting ourselves again, which is why we won't follow through on the goals. So let me give you some examples of people I've worked with, and there's actually people on this call who I've worked with, so they know as well. All right, so I've been working with who's an artist from Sheffield. I've been working with her for probably about 4 years now. She's in one of our academies. That's why I've been working with her for as long as that. So she was struggling to put her prices up for over 13 years, okay? And she really didn't want to become visible, and yet she wanted to sell more of her products. She's a very an incredibly talented sculptor. She does a lot of sculptures. Since working with her, her prices have tripled. She's got her work into celebrity houses, a gallery in the US, and is taking orders from all over the world just because her confidence and just her ability to be able to step forward. I've been working with S, who has been working as a health coach in her MLM business for over 10 years. She was really struggling to get any momentum going, and she'd been at the same level and she was starting to drop lower. But the key thing, because she had so much going on, but there was no continuity because she just didn't know what way to go. There was a lot of anxiety going on. We cleared her blocks about receiving money, about it being easy for her to receive money. She was doing a lot of people pleasing, which we've now been able to really handle. She had a lot of self-doubt, and her business is now growing at a faster rate than it has been for over 10 years. I've been working with C. Actually, C was one of my first clients, okay? And she was a busy virtual assistant. For many years, she had one main client that she really wanted to let go of because they really weren't treating her very well. She felt really underappreciated, but she really couldn't afford to because she relied on that income. But we started off working on her money blocks. By the way, money blocks always lead to other things as well, about self-esteem, self-worth. So that's why I tend to go with money blocks. And she released that client last year and she's now got several clients who now appreciate her. And she's also upgraded herself. She's no longer a virtual assistant. She's an online business manager and she's a social media support, and she's kicking butt and she's amazing. Okay. And I'm also one of her clients. Okay. So just to give you a different take on something, somebody reached out to me because often, even though I work with entrepreneurs, sometimes they reach out for me for one-off sessions that I can help them with. So I worked with V, who knew me anyway from my work with her as an entrepreneur. She wanted to release her cravings around sweets and cakes. She was going in for cancer treatment and she wanted to be as healthy as possible. She knew the sugar wasn't helping with the cancer production. So we did one session. And now, bearing in mind, she's also a practitioner herself. She wasn't an EFT practitioner at the time. She is now, but she's so she had her own tools as well. All right. So I'm going to say results not guaranteed, but it was a 2-hour session, and what we were able to do is release the connection she had, because what had happened was she had put the emotion of family love into the things like the chocolates and the cakes. As soon as we were able to separate that through the EFT, we're able to separate the emotion and just have the cakes and chocolate be the cakes and chocolate and not this means family love. She could make a more informed choice. She could decide, do I want those cakes and chocolate? Because what tends to happen is when people are seeking comfort, they'll seek the foods that give them what they think it gives them, which is the family love. And she didn't realize that was what's happening. So we were able to sever that, and she was able to go in and obviously have her operation and not have the need to have the cakes and chocolate. So, and actually, yes, I was going to say there's somebody on the call I know that we've done this with, because we did it during a session as well. Okay, so I'd like to, with your permission, do a little bit of tapping. Who wants to do a bit of tapping? Okay. All right. So what I'm going to do with you is I'm going to do some gratitude and abundance tapping. And the reason why I'm going positive is because I don't know you guys. Okay. With all due respect, I have no idea what's going on in your lives. Okay. So my intention is not to kick up any memories, etc. All right. Because EFT is incredibly powerful. So I could go in and say, tell me what you're anxious about. And suddenly we could be going into things that's, we don't have time to sort out in this session. So I'm going to go with the positive, okay, which is just another way that you can use EFT for yourself. So we're going to do abundance tapping, okay? So if people want to take part in the tapping, then please, I would really appreciate it. What do you appreciate about your life? Please put it in the chat. That would be lovely. Just one thing, a couple of things. What do you appreciate about your life right now? Oh, family. Yeah, my family. The variety that you have in your life. Yes. Friends. Can I say Jane became a nana today for the first time. Jane had her first ever granddaughter today. I'm just going to totally stick that in, because I know you appreciate that. Family, close friends, and health. Yes. Appreciate the opportunities. Yes. Lovely. Okay, so I'm not going to do a setup phrase because normally we don't need to with appreciation. Okay, this is something you could do every morning to set the tone of your day, to raise your vibration. Okay, and this is a great way of starting to attract abundance into your life. Okay, so we're going to start with the eyebrow point. If you want to tap with me, that's absolutely cool. If you just want to observe, that's absolutely cool as well. Okay, you've probably noticed I'm quite enthusiastic about this stuff, so just go with the flow. Life. Yes, Colette. Life. Let's appreciate life. Okay. So I always start with the heart space. So we tune into the heart space and just take a couple of breaths through that. And just say thank you, thank you, thank you. And smile. Even if you're not tapping, smile. Do you know how intimidating you are? I'm just saying. Right. Okay. Thank you, thank you, thank you for all the love I have in my life. Thank you, thank you, thank you for my family, my friends. Go on, give yourself a treat, give it a little tap. Thank you, thank you, thank you for my health, my vitality. Thank you for my energy. Thank you for my body and the strength that is within it. Thank you for all the abundance I have in my life. Thank you for the food in my cupboard, the roof over my head. Thank you for the technology that allows me to connect with other people. Thank you for the other people I have in my life that I care about. Thank you for my pets or my fur babies, if you have any. Thank you for new additions to my family. Thank you for all the things that I love in my life, like crystals, technology, my car. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I am blessed with abundance. Thank you, thank you, thank you for my divine power, my energy. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And then just close, hand on your heart. Breathe in, breathe out. And just notice how that feels. Notice if you feel a little calmer. Notice if you just feel like a little bit of happier. I know I've done it in the positive, and obviously when we're working with limiting beliefs, we work in the negative, but as I explained, obviously, because I'm trying to be responsible with everybody's emotional health here. Okay, I think. All right, so in summary, EFT can rewire the nervous system and subconscious for success. You can use it anytime and any place. It's incredibly powerful and can be used on a multitude of different things to help you calm the stress response and become more present and grounded in your business. It helps to raise your vibes and therefore helps you manifest what you desire. It's safe and effective to use, and anyone can learn and to use it. I'm just going to give you this. If you wanted to find out a bit more, if you wanted to work with me a little bit further, you could take your EFT level 1. This is a foundation, and that is if you just want it for yourself, your family and friends. It does not give you the certification to work with the general public, but lots of people do this so that they can just help themselves and their family and friends. If you're a coach, you want to add it in as a modality, or you're a mentor or a therapist, you want to add it in as a modality, you would need to go to EFT level 2. And that's how you could help people professionally, because then you would get the insurance. At the moment, we're doing an IAPC&M special offer. So if you wanted to do level 1 and level 2 together, it would be 497 instead of the normal 625. And if you did this before the end of November, then I would add in my EFT scripts for the 10 top money blocks. And also I have 5 power tapping money magnet videos. So this is where you're tapping for specific amounts of money, like £1,000, 3,000, 5,000. I think I've got 50,000 there as well. My next course dates are going to be next year. So obviously, if you're interested, if you wanted to book a one-to-one session, then to experience it yourself at a deeper level, then please contact us at info@becoming360training.com. And Okay, so Cynthia, do the places you tap on have to be in a specific order? Second, is there a specific timing for it, or do you stop tapping when you feel better? Okay, great questions. Where's Cynthia? Where is Cynthia? Where am I seeing? Oh, there. Right. Okay. Big C.
Sorry, I can't
Okay.
open
Hi. No, that's fine. That's fine. All right. What was the first question? Do you have to be in a specific order? No, not specifically, Cynthia, but we do tend to, they do tend to be in a specific order, but the order doesn't necessarily matter, you know, because it's more about tapping on the meridian points. I sometimes start up there, sometimes start there, sometimes forget there, do that, forget that one. And also, one of the things I would say is, as someone who taps all the time, muscle memory. So then you end up tapping in the same sequence. A tapping point I often put in, which the ladies I'm training with right now, so Lata and Jane is currently training with me. They're in the middle of their level 2. So obviously ask them questions too in terms of their experience of EFT. But basically, I add in tapping, but there are other tapping points you can tap on. So because I'm so used to putting that tapping point in, I'll sometimes forget when I'm doing basic. This is basic recipe, what I'm teaching you. Second question, is there a specific time for it to do? No specific timing. You basically wait until you feel better. So what I tend to do, and again, when you're working with a practitioner, they'll be intuitively picking up. So I would do 2 or 3 rounds with somebody and then measure what we call the SUDS. So whenever I'm working with somebody, the first thing I will do is so if somebody says, oh, I'm really struggling with my mum said this to me and she really upset me, okay, for example. And you go, okay, so how are you feeling? Well, it makes me feel really sad. Where are you feeling it? I'm feeling it in my heart. Okay, this is a very short version. You understand the conversation is usually a bit longer than this. Okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, how intense is that feeling? And if they say, well, 8, so that's what we call the SUD scale. So I will do 2 or 3 rounds on that particular issue and then check in. How does it feel now? Are you still feeling it in your heart? Has the energy moved? So basically, I'm getting feedback from them. Does that answer your question, Cynthia? Sometimes emotions change as well. That's the other thing. So somebody might start with anger and it then goes to sadness. Somebody might start with sadness and it goes to grief. Yeah. So no, tapping's really forgiving. Like, you don't have to get it 100% right. That is really forgiving, which is really good for me. Yeah. Any other questions?
Can you set that, so if we do use it for a negative emotion, like you were saying, like for example, confidence, etc., you talked about a setup. What is that then?
Here. Okay. So let's say, for example, you didn't feel confident about posting online, for example, okay? And it felt you felt kind of anxious. What I would do is say, even though I feel anxious about posting online, I choose to accept this feeling and know I'm okay right now in this moment. And you just repeat that 3 times. This here is known as psychological reversal. And basically it's just stating what is true for you right now. Is that okay?
So even though I feel anxious about it, I accept and
I choose I accept this feeling. And this is the bit where you put the affirmation. So you could put, I completely love and accept myself. Or you could put, like, this is where we put different ends on. So we could say, I'm safe right now in this moment. I fully accept myself. I know I'm okay right now. I choose to release this. You could put a lot of different endings on it. I'm trying not to get too complicated.
And then you say the negative thing while you tap. So you say,
so
I am anxious about posting online. I'm anxious about posting online.
You'd use a shortened reminder phrase. You'd go, so if it was anxious, so it's this anxiety, this anxiety, this anxiety, this anxiety in my heart, this anxiety, this anxiety. Yeah.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Yeah, so Mashma, earlier you mentioned about surrogate tapping. How does that work? So surrogate tapping, I've only ever done surrogate tapping. Have I done surrogate tapping for a person? I've always done it for a cat. So basically what you're doing is you're being so let's say, for example, you have somebody, well, they don't even have to be next to you, okay? So you know that someone's in pain. It's a bit like distance Reiki. I don't know if you guys ever, if anybody knows about distance healing, distance Reiki, but basically you hold the intention that you are tapping on yourself on behalf of them. Yeah, but you clear your energy first. You clear your own energy first. You have to clear your own energy and your own anxiety about whatever is happening for that person. And then you tap. So then you would say, so let's say your friend is called Jane and Jane isn't very well and you want to tap on but Jane's behalf. You would clear your own anxiety first about how you feel about Jane not being well. And then you would do the tap in. So I, Jane, feel anxious about not being well. Okay. And then you do anxious. Does that, Mashma? Does that help? Mashna? Ah, cool. Yeah. Obviously, I am going to say all of this stuff is what we cover in our level 1 and level 2. Now, obviously, I am going to promote that you get trained properly because there are, like I said, EFT is very powerful. Do not underestimate, just tapping on random meridian points. It can bring up events, it can bring up memories, it can bring up past traumas, which is why, you need to know what you're doing before you go and tap randomly on people or tap on yourself or whatever. So I would say use responsibly. That would be my caveat. Use responsibly. Get yourself trained by me or somebody else who is accredited. But thank you, Jane.
That's fascinating. And you can use it on
yeah.
everything, right?
Oh my goodness me. Yes. Yes.
And we were talking before about children and young people and anxiety as well. What a tool to have.
Yeah, we were talking about how we want to, EFT ought to be in schools. It needs to be in school to help regulate. Yeah. So
anybody else have a question?
I was going to say either Jane or Lata because they're newer to EFT, and Lata's very new. In fact, Lata, you've only been doing it for a couple of months, haven't you? You unmute.
Yeah, sorry, my fur baby is also vying for my attention.
Oh, bless. So do you want to just say about how what happened for you and why you decided to go and do the training? Because it was to do with EFT that you.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm not very new to VFT in the sense that I've known about it. I knew the technique and everything, but somehow my faith was not there because I was dubious whether it really works or not. So I was in one of the master classes of Joe and Lisa, the Rewrite Your Money Story. And there I spoke to them about some money blocks that I was experiencing, and they were from ancestors. So they guided me to do the tapping and phrase up some affirmations and all that. And I worked on myself, and it just miraculously, all my fear about money vanished. I felt so calm and at peace, and I no longer felt panicky when I came to situations where I needed to pay out money. Joe would talk to me about joining in the coaching, and I said, yes, hold on. That fear side of me was speaking. But once I overcame that money after doing and came this tapping, I said, go for it. Take up the level 1 and level 2 and go for it. And I had no qualms paying, coming up with the money to pay for the course. I had no negative feelings, no fear, no anxiety, nothing at all.
How have you found the training, Lata? I know that I'm the one running it, so it kind of like.
Oh my God, Jane.
Watch what you answer.
Yeah, I can say, in spite of listening to Nick and Jessica Ortney and all, but I feel the way you teach, it's so much more clear. There's so much more clarity. Seriously. Sorry, she needs attention too.
She's like, it's me, it's all about me.
Well, thank you for sharing. That's great.
Thank you, Lata. Thank you. Yeah.
The miraculous part was the craving, Joe.
Yeah, I did do it because obviously whilst I'm teaching real time. Yeah, that dog's so cute. We're teaching real time, and we Lotta had was it a biscuit, like a packet
Potato
of biscuits
crisp.
with
Potato crisp.
potato crisp, but they had a sweet. They were sweet potato crisps, weren't they? And she had this packet, and you know, obviously we were rating it, and she didn't even have the packet open, and it was like, I'm at 11. I could tear this packet open. I am going to eat this. And I kind of felt like I was torturing her a little bit. I'm like, just hold there, and we'll tap. And by the end of it, I think it didn't take that long, did it? About 10 minutes.
No.
We
Yeah.
had the packet open, you were sniffing it, and you were like, I don't really want to eat it. I can put it over there. I'm not really too bothered. It was very funny. Because I'm
Yeah.
like, you sure? Do you want to have a little taste? You know? So
Yeah.
it was very funny,
Incredible.
but it was good. Yeah, it was very good. It's very good. Yeah. So
And I mean, I guess the beauty in it as well is you do the courses and you learn it once and you really, deepen your knowledge, but then you can apply it to anything. I mean, it's like a tool for life.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, you can mix it up with anything as well. So anybody who's, I know Colette talked about getting trained by Paul McKenna and Richard Bandler, and their speciality obviously was NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. When I did my level 3, which was the advanced EFT, which is obviously before the trainer, at that point is where they show you how to mix NLP and EFT methodologies as well. So you have both mindset and energy. And also at level 3 is where you do a lot of inner child work as well, which was mind blowing for me. So it's really sort of progressive training that really helps you. And I think these days, with coaches and mentors, more and more they're understanding there's a need for help with the nervous system. There's a need to understand you can't just work at a mindset level because you're not really addressing the entire issue that's going to be present for your clients. So if somebody's wanting to go for a goal and they keep stopping themselves, they can't move forward, it will be because of the nervous system. Because you cannot outwork or outthink what's in the nervous system, because that's coming first. The nervous system response is coming first. The mindset is coming second. The amygdala is going, no, danger, danger, danger. So there has to be some kind of tool. And obviously there's lots of other tools that people can use around nervous system. But for me, I don't think there's much easier and more accessible than EFT.
Right.
So I hope that has helped people, and you found that useful, and maybe you'll do the abundance tapping for yourself to help. Just like I said, daily tapping helps with the immune system. So if you're tapping on appreciation, that is going to naturally help the immune system and the nervous system, and help raise your vibes. Triple
And
whammy.
I like what you said, we don't even need to believe it really to start,
No,
right? So,
you can
so
be,
if there are any of you,
skeptic.
listening in and you're a bit like, okay, right, not quite sure what that is, what do you have to lose to try it, right?
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, like I said, if you've got somebody who's upset, like, and I see it with parents quite a bit, and a kid is upset, quite often they'll tap there.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, they'll just tap them there, and it's because of that, because we know
like when we say I
instinctively,
can't breathe, that's what we say, don't we? When we're
Yeah.
anxious and we say I can't breathe, we tap here.
Yeah.
I'd never
Or
realized
sometimes
that
when people have
before.
got a headache.
Oh yeah,
So
that's
if
right.
you
They're putting
hold
their
if you
fingers
hold
there.
your head when you feel tense or stressed, that's also
Super clever. I'm so grateful for all these people who came before and put 2 and 2 together and then worked
cleverer
out,
than us, but figured
we're
it
a bit
out.
like, people have been doing it for years. Right, are we sure
Absolutely.
we have no further questions for our Joe here? No?
Cool.
Well then, Joe, I
Okay.
just need to say a big, big thank you because okay, there's a new message. Let me just check it's not a
No,
question.
just say
No, it's
thank
all
you.
thank
Thank you,
yous. Yeah.
Terry. Thank you, Terry.
Yeah. So, I mean, I encourage everybody, well, first of all, to write in their CPD pads, right? Exactly. Take hold of this knowledge before it just gets pushed out of the way by something else. And you've certainly ignited my desire in looking into it again. I did learn it years back, but it's really something that I would like to use with a lot of people also in my environment. But as you say, you've got to learn it properly. Oh, yes, the Tapping Summit, the 4th of November. And what was the name of the threesome there? The three.
So if you go onto it's the Ortners. So if you go onto the
Orkner.
tapping solution.
The tapping solution.
Yeah, it's the tappingsolution.com, and it's the Ortners, the family. Yeah.
Fantastic stuff. Well,
Oh,
I
good,
wish
Colette.
you
I'm
all
really
luck
glad.
with your tapping and with your learning. And I guess the more tools we have, the more we can help the people around us. And it's always great to have a variety as well. So thank you, Jo. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Thank you to all of you for having joined us here today. Well done on having made time, and good luck in putting it into practice. See you next time. All the best, everyone.